ants are annoying insects, and it may be quite difficult to get rid of them. There are a lot of methods, and in this video we're going to talk about the most common and most effective ones. So what are the reasons of house ants intervention and how to get rid of them? How to take preventive action, and what methods of control to use. What is the danger from house ants? Due to their way of life, the insects have a bunch of bacteria on their small legs. They're constantly wandering around the garbage cans, where they collect disease germs, and then they come to our houses and spread it. Ants collect food and hide it in the nooks that are inaccessible to people when cleaning. It becomes a conducive environment for mold and fungus, causing great damage to the health of the house residents. However, ants can be described as quite neat insects. They remove all the unnecessary garbage from their nests to other places. And it's possible that the places may be located near your food, or for example in a child's room or in a bed. Reasons of their coming. The most common factor is the absence of other anthills nearby, so the ants come to the dwelling and find food, and then several ants choose a place and begin to breed. There may be several more reasons. There's an anthill nearby and insects just roam. Perhaps the conditions there have become unfavorable, or the cold has come on the street. There can be many reasons. Poor sanitary conditions. It turns out that the remains of food and water accumulate in the corners, and that's a perfect environment for the vital activity and reproduction of ants. The ants may be brought by the inhabitants of the place after a walk along the street or in the forest. A couple of insects can attach to the clothes and then start breeding in the dwelling. Something disturbed the previous anthill, and now the ants are fleeing. You also need to be attentive to the neighboring apartments. If insects were spotted there, then there's an almost 100% chance that the pests will come to you as well. In addition, ants love humid environments, which makes a basement the perfect place for them to breed. So if your house has a cellar, you need to inspect it regularly. If you have an apartment, insects can appear from the garbage chute, and in this case, it's more difficult to understand how to act, even after inspection. Sometimes the pests come from restaurants, cafes, or other nearby catering establishments. After all, ants may appear not only where the water source is located, but also in places with an abundance of food. You need to look for house ants in hidden, hard-to-reach places. This can be tile cladding, baseboard, a place under parquet, or a crack in the plaster. After the breeding ground is found, you need to observe the army. Pay attention to the visible path of scurrying ants. It will help you find new nests. The colony should not be stirred up, or they will spread throughout the house. Now you need to start preparing means to deal with the unwanted guests. How to get rid of house ants using folk methods. The safest and the least cruel way to get rid of ants is to scare them away using odors. Freshly squeezed lemon juice works great. It is applied to the places of accumulation of the insects and to the paths along which the ant flock marches. You can also use fragrant plants such as parsley, mint, lavender, and wormwood. Just put them around and the ants will run away. If you have no herbs or citrus fruit, then look for essential oil. Any smell will do. The method of application is the same. How to get rid of house ants using soda. This substance is safe for the health of both people and pets. The first biggest advantage of soda is affordability. Every householder has it at hand. The second one is its effectiveness. After several applications, the ants will leave you for a long time. So, this is how the solution is made. Prepare a 2-liter glass container. Pour a liter of hot water. Add 3 tablespoons of soda. Shake the mixture. Pour it upon the anthill. This method, of course, is quite brutal, but very effective. You can also cover the ant nest with soil and thick fabric. Ammonia. Ammonia is an effective remedy for getting rid of house ants in your home, and these are the reasons why. The strong smell of ammonia vapor disappears quickly, but the insect will feel it for a long time. Ammonia paralyzes the digestive tract of ant and causes the swelling of the digestive system. Poisonous vapor leaves burns on insects, and as a result, they are forced to flee from the nest. Ammonia paralyzes ants, which leads to their death. Before using ammonia, you need to dilute it with water. This is due to the rapid evaporation of ammonia vapors, which scare the insects away. How to dilute ammonia properly? Boil 8 liters of water and cool it down. Add 1 tablespoon of ammonia. Let the solution brew for 20 minutes. The mixture can be applied after it becomes homogeneous. Salt. There are many different types of salt, like table salt, pink Himalayan, sea salt, kosher, rock, black, and many others. These salts differ in taste, texture, and color, but the differences in composition are insignificant. It's always sodium chloride by 97%. Use ordinary salt. It is necessary to sprinkle it not only on the anthill, but also on ant paths. You can also put elderberry or mint leaves around. The way to ward off ants from the house for the laziest ones is to sprinkle the salt on the threshold, the windowsills, and all the passages and places of mass accumulation of the many-legged pests. Soap. It is difficult to deal with ants, since these pests usually remain unnoticed for a long time, multiply quickly, and actively harm the plants and crops, but tar soap may do a great job. How to use it? Pour 2 liters of boiled and cooled water into a container. Add 25 grams of grated tar soap, then stir. Add 25 grams of baking soda and stir again. Pour the prepared solution upon the anthill. There are several methods of preparing the solution, but this is the most effective one. It strikes a double blow: soda and soap. Industrial and control methods. There are many means to get rid of the unwanted guests. They're divided into several types: aerosols, powders, gels, and others. How to locate the nest? Before you start the war with ants, you need to find their colony. One of the most effective ways to do it is following the paths. This is how you do it. Put a piece of some food on the table. It can be a slice of bread, an apple, or fruit juice. It will attract the ants, but you shouldn't drive them away immediately. Let them eat as much as they want. Then they will start to leave, and that's where you have to be very attentive, because they will lead you to the nest. Just follow the rows of ants, and voila! The colony is right in front of you. How to destroy an ant queen? The queen is the #1 individual in the flock of ants. It oversees all the processes, but before you destroy it, you need to find it. These are queen's distinctive features. It's bigger than other ants in the nest. Its abdomen is larger than that of other ants. Its size is 4 mm approximately. It has a number of white stripes on the abdomen, but the whole color is slightly darker than the others. To find it, you have to stir the nest up. It will make the queen crawl out. If you see it, then hit without a doubt. Doing that, you have to be careful not to be bitten by the members of the army. Calling the exterminator. Extermination is the elimination of pests and harmful insects with special methods. It's done when a person detects cockroaches, bedbugs, hornets, wasps, flies, and so on. If you don't have the time or just don't want to fight the insects on your own, or if there are too many ants, you have to call a specialist, exterminator. In addition, this is the only way to get rid of yellow pharaoh ants at home. Exterminators are people who have received special training in the elimination of different types of insects. Prevention of house ants. Insect invasion is much easier to prevent than to expel. Follow these preventive measures, and you will never have to ask the question, how to get rid of ants at home. Keep the house clean and well. Don't let food leftovers accumulate in the house. Don't leave garbage and dirty dishes for a long time. Wipe the kitchen surface with a wet rag regularly. Store food in sealed containers. Take the food away from the table. Insects can cause a lot of trouble, but the house ants in an apartment can be disposed of by both folk methods and chemical means. Keeping the place clean is the key to not having insects in your house. However, it doesn't give you a 100% guarantee, especially if you live in an old house or next door to an antisocial person.